So let's take a look at how you can build these dynamic dashboards. And what I've done here, a couple of things. First of all, in this cell here, N1, I have written this formula, and it's a sort unique, looking over at the data set, which is this. I'm collecting the data from A to A, and with this formula, I'm pulling in all of the ages, sorted descending. So that's what this is doing. It's using the curly brackets. I'm creating the header, all ages, semicolon, sort, unique, the data set A to A, column 1, false, meaning that is sorting descending. So there's my data list. And then what I've done here is I've done a data validation, and I've said it's going to be equal to n, end to n. So basically, this gives me the list of all the ages. And then what I've done is I've put an if formula here. We'll get to that in a moment. What I want to show you right now is when I'm looking at this heart data, and I'm referencing cell A6. So here's my, let's just open this up again. Here's my data. Here's my query, and that's allowing me to build my query right here in cell A6. So let's go ahead and reference cell A6. So if I wanted to hard code this is what you'd have to do. I'd go, 73, and then this is all of my data pulling back where A is greater than or equal to 73, and I could change that, and that could be greater than or equal to. It could be simply just greater than, then I'd lose my 73s and so forth. That's how you would hard code that. But what I'm more interested in is finding a way that I could take this list now that I have and go ahead and get this to work with this drop-down menu. One interesting feature is that if you use this, if we use this, we can get all data, because where 1 equals 1 is always going to be true. So let's go ahead and change this to A5, and now notice it pulls back all the data. Now the reason we have to do that is when we reference a cell that is mixed types, like this is text, this is numbers, when we reference a cell in a formula, which we're doing in this formula here, we're needing to reference the cell that is here, and I've demonstrated that earlier, that if you have that mixed data type, it's going to fail when you go to all ages, and it's going to work when you go to the numbers. So let's take a look at what we've done here. I've gone ahead and put in an if statement, because notice when we're referencing where 1 equals 1, we get all the data back. So now what I needed to do is build a formula, an if statement in cell D1. And what D1 is going to do is, it's an if statement that says if C1 is equal to all ages, then I'm going to get, the return is going to be 1 equals 1. That's going to be my true statement. Else, I want to type out this whole statement that you see here, where A1 is greater than or equal to whatever numbers in here, ordered by A descending. So I'm basically duplicating what I have put here, my hard coding. This is the hard coding piece, and I have to get my select statement to with my formula to be equal to that. So let's take a look at, if I go to 77, where it comes across, selects everything where A is greater than or equal to 77, or in this case it could be 73. Notice this hard-coded one, which if I come here and change to A6, we know that that works, right? And what I would like to do now is make sure that when I change this and get this cell D1 1 with my if statement, what I need to have that do is be exactly the same as what you see here. And that's what we get. So my formula here is select star where, and then and the statement here, just to show you that. Select star where, and then we're adding D1. And when we add D1, we get select star where A, or select star where 1 equals 1. So if we reference this back to A3, now we can use this dynamic drop-down menu. Generally, right now, as you can see, I'm referencing cell A3, and we're referencing cell D1 in here. So what I could do is go ahead and take this select statement, which is referencing D1. If I wanted to get rid of D1, I could come here and grab, this is my helper cell. I'm going to copy that minus the equal sign, okay? Then when I come here, I'm going to do and paste in my if statement, and it still works. And I get all ages, and I get 77. So I'm using that reference. And then what I could do, if I was done with these dynamics, I could then take, instead of doing A3, let's take a look at the formula in A3. Well, let's just take this select statement. Go ahead and copy that. And then let's come in here, and instead of referencing cell A3, we go ahead and paste, and everything should continue to work. All ages, 67, and so forth. And you'd see you'd have a whole lot more cases. So now our select statement is querying the heart data. We're selecting everything where, and then we're simply using this if statement. The if statement that we had in cell D1. If C1 equals all ages, it's 1 equals 1, or it's this A1 is equal to whatever number is in C1, order by A descending. Now, when we look back at the original data that we were looking at, you can see from this formula, again, I'm referencing A4, I am referencing all of these pieces, and in this case I have another helper cell, and this helper cell is in C4. C4 is a little more complex because in this case I'm adding my if statement for all ages to compare the lower age, upper age, all sexes, all pain type. So you could simply keep building this formula to end up building your dynamic dashboard. So it's a little bit complex, but the main thing, the trick here is learning about this 1 equals 1, because that's always going to reference as true. So that's allowing me to go to all ages. And then basically the select statement, when I select all ages, the select statement becomes where 1 equals 1. Because, and if we select a number, we get where A is greater than or equal to 77 and so forth and so on. And then what we would want to do is be able to append all of the other examples we have here with this and statement. If that's true, and that's true, and that's true, and that's true. So we would we'd have to build that out. But it's a great way to make a dynamic dashboard that is a lot gives you a lot of flexibility in having your users drill down into their data.